90?
88.
Hey there. Welcome to Toy Talk with Mike and Chad, episode 88.
I'm Mike.
I'm Chad, and the toys we will be talking about today are some of Mike's latest acquirements.
Yeah, we're going to do this episode will all be DC superpowers. We were just talking in the last episode, since this is the second episode we filmed tonight, it's the last week of June.
Mm-hmm.
So that means I'm going to be doing my best of the second quarter. And I usually try and post that video right away. So right at the start of July, I'll try and do this video. But I try and have all of the figures that I got in it that given quarter reviewed before. And there's just no way I'm going to get to everything. Because I've still got Marvel Legends, DC figures, Transformers, reaction figures, tons of Masters of the Universe. I'm not going to get 6 videos posted in a week. So whatever. This was just one of the videos, even though you don't have any superpowers figures to talk about. I thought you could help me out, hammer out another video.
Yep.
Because at least you care about these characters.
I like DC.
You like DC. So I have 2 waves of DC superpowers to talk about. So first up, we'll talk about the upcoming Superman movie, which we're
July 11th.
Yeah, so we're like 2 weeks away from Superman, essentially 2.5 weeks away.
I told Melanie she's off the hook for that one.
Oh, yeah?
Because we're probably going like night 1.
Yeah, if you like this thing, I don't know if my wife will want to go. I think she's probably expecting to.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, if you need
100% night 1.
You need a mandate for that, when we might be a threesome. And so Melanie can join us if she
Yep.
wants. So yeah, I am super pumped for Superman. I think the general consensus is people are excited for this movie.
Yeah.
There's always negative idiots on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And sorry, maybe I shouldn't jump to idiots, but like, because this movie could be terrible. Maybe the naysayers are right. But I think it's silly to be so negative about a movie you haven't seen yet. Yeah. There's been a ton of news the last week about how he removed a scene of Superman flying with the camera kind of right in his, because apparently it was being mocked online after it was in one of the TV spots. It's like, who are these people that need to
You can't judge like a 30-second clip around a movie that hasn't been released yet. Like,
yeah, and trailers have unfinished effect shots in them. And anyway, whatever. I find it funny that people waste so much time complaining about these things online. So much so that filmmakers are making changes. I don't know.
For any of our like regular viewers, I'm not a Superman fan at all. Like, I think he's one of the cheapest superheroes out there. I have grown more fond of him as an adult, I think.
Yeah, you are absolutely wrong. Superman is awesome. He's one of the best.
Now, I will say that, given that opinion, I am very excited for this movie. Just can't wait.
Yeah, and one of the main things is, like, I grew up on the Christopher Reeve movies.
Yeah.
Loved them. However, when you go back and watch them now, like, obviously they are not without their their flaws, yes. So yeah, it's not like I could show a kid today, like if I took one of my nephews who's never seen it and said, "You've got to watch this movie, it's amazing," they'd be rolling their eyes and being like, "This is too long, this is too boring, this doesn't make any sense," and it's hard to argue with them.
Yeah.
I saw it when I was a little kid, so I loved it. Everything they've done with Superman since has not really worked for me. I thought Superman Returns, they did. I thought Brandon Routh did a really good job of impersonating Christopher Reeve. Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor, I was fine with. But the plot and the fact that he had a kid, I didn't care for the casting of Lois Lane and the stuff with James Marsden, all that stuff. It wasn't a great movie. And the Snyderverse stuff, it's never really worked for me. I thought Henry Cavill was a good choice for Superman. I just don't think they ever gave him really any good material to work with. I thought Man of Steel, that made me angry when I was watching it.
Yeah.
I went to Man of Steel, watched it like that first night that it ever came out, and when Superman was like being petty, like first he let his dad die in a tornado, then he like folded a guy's truck in half just because the guy was being a jerk to him in a pub or whatever. And then he like broke Zod's neck. You know, spoiler alert, by the way, if you haven't seen this 15-year-old movie. But yeah, I was like, no, this is Superman as far as I'm concerned. And then they tried to salvage him a little bit with Justice League and stuff, but the damage was done. So yeah, when I see this trail, like these trailers and these TV spots, I feel like James Gunn gets it, and he's like, yeah, that last Superman was way too dark. He's not what Superman's all about. We're going back to fun. We're going back to light. We're going back to just classic Superman. I think it's going to be great.
It actually, the most recent trailer gave me goosebumps for that reason, because the hype is real. Like I'm all aboard the hype train for this one.
Yep.
Like you, I'm really hoping James Gunn captures this and brings Superman back to what I've grown to like.
Yeah. Anyway, when it comes to DC figures, I am pretty close to a completist when it comes to McFarlane's DC Superpowers line. Todd McFarlane makes DC Multiverse figures, which are detailed 7-inch articulated figures. Some of those are really cool too, but
some of them are not.
Some of them are not. But for the most part, I think they are now. I was skeptical the first few years because I don't think everything he was putting out was great. But I've been buying more of his figures last year than I have in the first like 4 years combined. I've got a new stack of them over there actually. But anyway, I buy those ones pretty sparingly, picking and choosing. But when it comes to superpowers, pretty much as long as it's an original character, I will buy it. He does go a little overboard making variations of Batman and Superman. So sometimes I skip if it's a figure that I feel is too similar to a figure I already have. But even then, I think I have 6 Supermans and I think 8 Batmans. So I buy most of them. Anyway, when it was announced that they were going to include some movie-based figures in the Superpowers line, I thought, well, that's kind of curious. Because the Superpowers line has an aesthetic that is kind of simple, kind of cartoony. I didn't know how integrating movie figures into that line would really work, but they have previously added the 1989 Batman into the line, and that's okay. So I was like, yeah, we'll give it a shot.
Yep.
So they announced 4 figures. Superman, obviously. And then in what I would consider to be kind of strange, so I don't know how much these characters are going to be in this movie. Nobody really does. But we all know that Guy Gardner, the Green Lantern, is going to be in the movie. So he was one of the figures in the series. Also, Metamorpho.
Yep.
He's going to be in the movie. And so they made a figure of him. And the other one was Mr. Terrific.
Yes.
So again, he's in the movie. I wouldn't be surprised if all those guys are only in it for a few minutes. Maybe I'm wrong, but it sounds like this movie has a lot to cram into it already. That I wouldn't be surprised if those guys just kind of show up in a newsreel and we don't see them much of them at all. So when they announced that those are the 4 figures they were making, I was like, okay, fine. But one of the other heroes that has been announced to appear in the movie is Hawkgirl.
Yes.
And it is a very common complaint amongst the Superpowers fans online that Todd McFarlane does not make any female characters. Because even though we've got about 70 figures in the series now, he's only made 1 female, which is just Wonder Woman, and he made her 3 times over. So, yeah, no Supergirl, no Batgirl. So the fact that he's making movie figures, Hawkgirl seems like she should have been an obvious choice, partly because we already have a Superpowers Guy Gardner, and we already have a Superpowers Metamorpho. Do we really need another one just because now it's movie-based? It's like, it should have been Superman. Sure, I'm willing to buy another Superman. But then it should have been Lex Luthor.
Yep.
Because we don't have a Lex Luthor yet. And it should have been Hawkgirl. And then, if I could pick, I'd probably say Lois Lane.
Yeah.
But I'm fine with you throwing another hero in there. Mr. Terrific, even though I don't even like that character, he probably would have been the one I would have voted for just because we don't have a Mr. Terrific. So, anyway, so those were the 4 figures. I pre-ordered Superman and Mr. Terrific. I was not going to buy Metamorpho and Green Lantern, Guy Gardner, because I felt I don't really need these guys. Maybe I would have come to regret that if I see the movie and I love Guy Gardner in the movie, and I would have been like, oh, why didn't I pre-order that? But I felt confident in not doing it. I'm like, I'm just going to order 2 of the figures. But then it was leaked online that there was going to be a 5-pack available with an extra figure. And the extra figure was going to be a character who he's been in the trailers for the movies, but it wasn't like widely publicized that this character was going to be in the movie. But Ultraman is going to be in the movie. And he's actually a pretty boring figure. Now, in the comic books, he's not necessarily boring looking, but they've changed up his look substantially for the movie. Mm-hmm. And so I thought, well, Ultraman is a character that I don't have a figure of. So now I want him, so I'm going to have to buy the 5-pack just so I can get the Ultraman. So I canceled my pre-order of the 2 individual figures, ordered the 5-pack, only to then find out that they're going to release Ultraman as a single card figure anyway. So I could have just ordered Superman, Mr. Terrific, and Ultraman. But at that point, I was like, I'm not canceling it again. I'll just give me the 5-pack and whatever. So here it is. It's a good size box. You get the Superman logo on the front. You've got all 5 characters featured on the back. So Superman, Mr. Terrific, Green Lantern, Ultraman, and Metamorpho. And then when you open up the front, it's Velcro. Now you'll see here, I've obviously opened up the figures because I've had this for a couple of weeks already. So this inside was just the 5 individual carded figures, just like you would buy if you bought them single carded. So if you're the type of collector that leaves these figures in the cards, you still could have got away with buying this and taking the cards out, and they would have been the same. And then you've got a little bit of picture of the Fortress of Solitude on the flaps there. So a nice presentation. But now that I've showed you guys this on camera, I can finally throw this out. But I've been sitting on it for a couple of weeks. All right. So shall we start with?
Yeah, let me get your opinion, though, first on Guy Gardner.
Okay.
Do you love or hate the bowl cuts? I think it's a really stupid haircut on anything.
Yeah. I do hate the bowl cut. Like when I first heard of the character of Guy Gardner decades ago, because I knew of Green Lantern as Hal Jordan, the guy with brown hair that was in the Super Friends cartoons, and he was in the original Superpowers line of the 80s. And then by the time I was reading comic books and stuff, you're like, oh, there's a whole bunch of Green Lanterns. And the second most popular was this guy, Guy Gardner, who had this, red bowl cut, and he looked like a complete schmuck.
Yep.
However, in modern comics, he doesn't have the bowl cut. He hasn't had the bowl cut for a long time. He's got short red hair, but it's usually more spiky now. For this movie, they've chosen to, Nathan Fillion. Nathan Fillion. So they've given him a more blonde than red, but they've given him a bowl cut. Like a bowl cut. And I'm like, I don't hate it, to be honest with you. Because they're going back to kind of classic looks. I'm like, I think they've obviously chosen to make him goofy looking on purpose. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. To my surprise, I don't hate it that he's got a bowl cut in the movie. But in the comic books, because I do love reading Green Lantern comic books, I couldn't deal with Guy Gardner if he was still flying around with a bowl cut. It just wouldn't make sense.
Okay, sorry to sidetrack you there. That's
okay. Well, let's start with Guy Gardner then. So here is the Guy Gardner figure from the movie. He's got that reddish bowl cut. I think the hair is actually redder on the figure than it appears to be in the actual movie. His outfit is mostly white instead of green. I don't mind, but it's got green trim and it's a lot of black. He's got like a jacket over his superhero onesie.
I like it. Dig it.
Yeah, I like it too. And when they were first announced for pre-order, the reason I thought I didn't need this is because I had another Guy Gardner that was, I thought, just as good. But when here's the original Guy Gardner, and I actually like this one better, the new one, as far as head sculpt and everything goes. The bowl cut on this guy is worse.
Yeah.
Now, I do like his outfit is a little more true to the comic books, but I never really liked this outfit either. This is his kind of classic look from when he was part of like the Justice Society or Justice League of America, with the really big popped collar, which I don't really love. So yeah, I like this movie version. He's got a jacket. He's got a bowl cut, like the comic book version, except it's a little more subdued. The jacket isn't as obnoxious. The hair is not quite as obnoxious. Um,
Yeah, like I'm a sucker for the classics, but yeah, I would agree. I like the Nathan Fillion version better, and for how basic these characters are, like the sculpts and everything, I can actually see Nathan Fillion in
yeah,
that character. It's not like 100% accurate, but I could confidently look at that if I didn't know anything about
yeah.
Nathan Fillion and say, "Hey, that looks like Nathan Fillion."
Well, you've got better Nathan Fillion eyes than I do, I think, because yeah, I don't really see
If you hold it far enough away,
Yeah, and I forgot to wear my glasses for this episode. I left my glasses upstairs, and I realized that when we started filming, I'm like, why is the screen so blurry? So this isn't the best day to ask me, but yeah, like it's a good figure regardless. And I wouldn't expect I wouldn't even want the likeness to be perfect because then it would be too jarring with
yeah,
my other superpowers figures. So he still looks like you can still
he could fit in.
you can display them together. And it's not too jarring. So the other one we'll do a comparison to here is the Superman. Now I don't see Corn Sweat in there, but maybe you do.
No,
Yeah, I don't think it looks like the actor. If they were trying to, I think they failed. But I really like the head sculpt.
head sculpt is solid.
I like the whole figure. I like the new logo. And who knows? Maybe if this movie turns out to bomb, I won't feel the same way. But I was in Hot Topic the other day, and they had the new Superman shirts, just a plain blue shirt with the, and I was like, I kind of want to buy that. I don't own any Superman logo shirts. It feels a little played out. It seems I don't have any Batman logo shirts because you see so many.
I don't either.
You have little kids wearing them. You have guys that don't read comic books or don't, wearing them. So it seems a little too on the nose for me. But I don't know. My excitement for this film and the fact that the logo is tweaked but still very recognizable. I was like, I don't know. I kind of want to buy one of these shirts.
We should both buy one and then wear them to the premiere together.
We could do that if we go alone. I don't think my wife will let us do that if we go with her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could be convinced of that. I'm excited this movie. I kind of want that shirt, or that logo on a shirt.
Just don't kill Crypto. I swear to God, James Gunn.
I don't think he'll do that. But now, just for comparison, so this is the first Superpowers Superman, which I really loved, but he definitely feels simpler. He's got little dots for eyes and stuff. He looks a little almost creepy compared to this new one. But then, after they repainted this one a couple of times, they did another version of Superman, kind of another basic Superman, which is this one here. And they're still different. It looks like a lot of, they probably could have got away with using a lot of the same parts, but they didn't. Like his boots are different, his belt is different. Like, it looks like an entirely new sculpt on this new Superman figure. And I think it might be my favorite of all three Supermans.
The original's face looks kind of weird.
Yeah,
it's a nice figure.
Yeah, it's not bad, but like I talked about it when I reviewed this figure. I was reluctant to get this version 2 Superman because I liked the version 1 quite a bit. I don't think this was necessary. But then I got it and I kind of warmed to it. But yeah, I think this, if we want to call it version 3, I think it's the best of the 3 Supermans.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I like it. So far this pack is impressing me. Now the next one, we'll do the last one where I have a comparison. So here is the original Metamorpho. Nice, bright, colorful comic book colors. And then we get the movie version. So not nearly as bright. A lot more subtle.
Well, those shorts are really something. He looks like he's getting ready to get in the ring.
They are weird looking. And I'll have to see how it looks in the movie. It's because Metamorpho wears these little black tidy whities.
Yeah.
Tidy blackies. Tidy blackies. Yeah, he wears these little Speedo underwear. And I've never really questioned it. Because he's not flesh colored, you're like, whatever. But if I was a guy whose body was made out of clay and elements and stuff, would I all of a sudden start running around town in tighty whities?
Probably not.
Probably not. I would much rather wear basketball shorts like this guy's wearing. I don't know if it looks as superhero-y. It does look a little weird, but I don't know if I hate it. I think I have to reserve judgment until I see how it looks in the movie.
Who's playing him in the movie? I forget.
I don't know. Is it somebody like Doug Jones, one of those like suit actors? I really don't know.
Yeah. Let's go with that.
Yeah,
it doesn't stick totally out whether or not it is.
Yeah, I don't know, but like again, I didn't feel I needed this figure. And when you look at the two of them, other than the shorts, like he's not different enough to really justify his existence. I wish it was Hawkgirl or Lex Luthor. That would have made a whole lot more sense to me. But they are more different than I expected them to be. Like, not only does he have the different colors, but like his leg is white as opposed to that guy's leg is like
brownish tan.
So yeah, he's got kind of like an orangey and a blue leg, and this one has white and brown. Like, so they look like different textures. Plus, the movie version's face has got all these like carvings.
It's like stucco paint.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. So they are different in that regard. So yeah, I don't hate that I bought this figure, especially if I really like if I watch the movie in Metamorpho, even if he's not in a lot, but he has some cool scenes, I could have maybe been kicking myself for being like, oh, why didn't I pre-order Metamorpho? Because these superpowers figures do seem hard to get a lot of the time. Some of them are peg warming at our GameStop, but I'm in some of the Facebook groups, and some people are really like scrambling, saying, I can't find these anywhere, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it is possible if I missed out on him at the time. And they're cheap too, by the way. These figures in Canada retail for $14.99.
Yeah.
And by buying the 5-pack, there was actually a discount of about $5.
Yep.
So it's not like I'm throwing away $40 on a figure I didn't really want. It's like $15. It's nothing. So he's my least favorite so far, but
I would agree.
Yeah, but still not bad. So now we'll go with Mr. Terrific. Now, I know very little about this guy. I've never really read a Mr. Terrific comic book.
Me either.
He looks like a
douche.
It's a stupid costume. It's stupid powers. Like, from what I know about him is he's got a big black T painted on his face for Terrific. He wears a jacket that says fair play on the arms and Terrific on the back. And then he's smart, but he has this, like a little spaceship, and he has what he calls T-balls, which are like sort of little robots that fly around him and can, I don't know, shoot lasers or gather data or something. And yeah, it just doesn't work for me. I'm like, what the hell? Why does he have a black T painted on his face? And maybe some Mr. Terrific fan can explain to me, oh, it's not just face paint, it's nanobots that do something. But I'm like, still. It's a stupid look. And even if he's stuck with that on his face, I don't know why he's wearing that idiotic jacket. Fair play on the arms, like, come on. Dumb.
Yeah, that is pretty dumb.
Now, I will say, I think these guys are supposed to be part of the same team in the movie. So they have the same body, essentially. They have the same jacket.
Yeah.
Their outfits are very similar. They both have a lot of white and black in the same patterns. Except where this guy's got red, he's got green. So yeah, I like that they look like a cohesive team. And I'm happy to add Mr. Terrific to my collection. Of the ones we've talked about so far, in a way, he's sort of the most exciting just because I get to add a new character, even if he's a terrible character.
Yeah.
So, I will say, I don't think I've ever seen him with an afro in the comics. I kind of like that they gave him like a little afro in the movie. It at least makes him a little bit more unique. I don't know.
Gives him character.
Yeah, like it separates him from, some of the other black superheroes in the DC universe, like Black Lightning or something. Like, yeah, I think get him a fro. It's kind of cool. All right, and the last one in the box set, and I wish this was more interesting, but this is Ultraman.
Yeah, that looks.
Now, even though I obviously don't know anything, I don't even want to risk spoiling. So there's rumors about this guy, and he might look a certain way underneath of his mask. I won't bother repeating that, but I get it that if you're trying to hide a reveal by putting him in this all one color, like you still could have given him a more interesting costume than this. Because in the comic books, Ultraman does not wear an all purple unitard with an all purple mask with little black swimming goggles on it. Like it's very unimaginative.
Very, very unimaginative. It looks like they just took him right off the line, dipped him in purple, and like, here you go.
Yeah, and see, this is what bothers is like I could have kind of understood if they thought, you know what, people are going to want Ultraman, especially if there is a cool reveal in the movie, and afterwards people are going to be like, we want Ultraman. So I maybe thank them for giving me Ultraman. But maybe they thought nobody will buy this if we put him in a solo by himself because he's so boring and nobody knows anything about him. So I could understand if they put him as the bonus figure in the 5-pack in order to make him for the hardcore fans. But the fact that then they put him on a single card anyway, it's like, well then, I would have rathered Hawkgirl or Lex Luthor again. Like, no matter who he reveals himself to be, he could pull off his mask and be Justin Timberlake in the movie or something, and I wouldn't care. It's like, give me Hawkgirl, you know?
Yeah.
So, whatever. He's fine, but pretty bland.
So 3 good ones, 2 duds.
I wouldn't even say that. The thing is, like, because both the guys that are duds are the 2 new characters. So yeah. I don't have either of these guys in my collection, so I'm happy to have them both. I think the Mr. Terrific figure is good, even though it's of a bad design, but their hands were kind of tied. And same as Ultraman. Like, that's not McFarlane's fault. It's just a bad design for the movie. But yeah, so overall, I think this set is a win. I would give it a thumbs up, even if you don't like 1 or 2 of the figures. The other figures are strong enough to lift it up, and they're even stronger than I thought. Like, I really did not want another Guy Gardner or Metamorpho, but they're both pretty good. All right. So I thought I was going to do an episode with just those because there were not any other superpower figures on my radar. I had heard that there was going to be another wave, possibly the final wave ever, because we all know that McFarlane has lost the license to do DC figures. Mm-hmm. Mattel is taking over the license in 2026. So at the last, I think it was New York Toy Fair or something, McFarlane revealed a bunch of figures he had coming up in the multiverse line, but then he showed only these 4 figures or whatever for the superpowers line, and people were like, oh no, we heard that he's losing the license, and now he's showing us these last 4 superpowers figures. And then he announced that these figures were only going to be available on his McFarlane Toys website, which didn't bode well. It's like, oh wow, the retailers don't even want to carry this last line. So I don't think I've seen any official word that this is the final wave of superpowers. I think it would be very easy for McFarlane to sneak out another wave or 2, especially if it's just going to be more repaints of Superman and Batman. I don't know if he'll be able to create too many more new sculpts because it takes, a good 1.5, 2 years of planning. But I think he could definitely repaint some characters. And I'm not saying I want another repaint of Batman. But I mean, he could take a Batman mold and repaint it into Catman or something. And a lot of the characters like Flash that are just in like plain onesies, he could repaint him into other characters and maybe have to sculpt a new head or something. So we'll see.
That's what he did in the multiverse line with Catman. Just
paint Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's definitely possible to take some of the existing characters and turn them into other characters with maybe a little bit of part swapping and a little bit of extra paint. But anyway, this last line of figures, they are not up for pre-order on GameStop's website. They are not up for pre-order on Amazon because all the publicity said they were McFarlane store exclusives. And then people started posting on Facebook, and I don't know if this is only in Canada, but people are saying that the new superpowers are showing up at GameStop's. And we talked about this recently, but GameStop Canada was recently purchased by one of the guys that is a co-owner of McFarlane Toys. He's a Canadian, and he bought the stores, and now they're called EB Games here in Canada. So that might be why EB Games in Canada is getting these figures because one of the guys from
Yeah.
McFarlane Toys owns it. And anyway, I don't know why, but like I was like, oh really? They're showing up. So I called my local GameStop and I said, do you have these figures? And they said, yeah, we just got them in. I said, can you put them aside for me? And they said yes. So I expected to have to pre-order these figures and then wait weeks and stuff. So they went from I wasn't expecting them at all to now they're in my hand.
Yeah.
So I've got the new wave. And well, yeah, I'll get your thoughts on them here. I'll start with. Do you know these 4 figures in this wave?
No.
You ever see them? Okay. So here's the first one.
Okay.
That is Nightwing
Mm-hmm.
in his 80s Teen Titans outfit. Thoughts?
I like it. I think his face looks stupid, but I like the design.
Well, I think the 80s Teen Titans book was kind of a light book because it was about a bunch of teenagers.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at some of those old covers, they were often smiling. And so I kind of like that they're leaning into that. He looks happy. The colors are bright. I know for a lot of comic fans, the 80s Teen Titans is held in very high regard because it was like selling neck and neck with X-Men for a while. Like it's a very beloved book. I never read it back in those days. I don't really care about the Teen Titans characters. And this character here, for those that don't know, it was Dick Grayson, the very first Robin. He got older. He got too old to be Robin anymore, so he went and formed the Teen Titans, and he became Nightwing. He is still Nightwing to this day, and Batman has had several Robins since. Anyway, they've already made Nightwing twice in the Superpowers line, plus they made a Dick Grayson as Robin. So I have one of the Nightwings, and I have the Robin. I skipped on one of the other Nightwings because he's not a character I like enough to bother getting a second one. But now here's a third one. And I could have skipped it, but again, knowing how rare this wave has the potential to be, I thought I better throw down the $14 and whatever. But I was the least excited about it. I think it's a fine figure. Mm-hmm. I just didn't, it wasn't on my want list. I don't really care about it. I already have this guy. So, yeah. He's fine, but me.
I don't dislike him.
Yeah. Now, the other nice thing about this wave, though, is the other 3 figures are all new characters. We haven't had them before, so there's no more Batmans or Supermans or anything. The problem is that most of them are characters I don't care about. So here's another one of the Teen Titans. This is Cyborg. If you're not familiar with Cyborg, he was in the Justice League movies.
Ray Fisher.
Yeah. I've never liked Cyborg.
No, me either.
And I think the reason why I could never get into him is because this is how he looked in his when he first was created in the 80s. And he was a popular character that was in the Teen Titans and stuff. And they've really tried to elevate Cyborg in recent years. They always put him on the Justice League. And the fact that they put him in the Justice League movie. They're trying to put him up on the upper echelon with Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman.
Not going to happen ever.
Yeah, he's just not cool enough. And I think this look in particular, like it looks like he's wearing metal lingerie to me.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, he's got all these... His flesh is showing on his upper, like, thighs, and then he's got these bands of metal. It looks like a garter belt. And then even just the low, sweeping chest. Mm-hmm. Like, it looks like something like a woman would wear on sexy lingerie. And the exposed shoulders. Like, I always just thought it was such a terrible look. If you want to make a guy that's half cyborg, there's a million ways to do it and make it look cool.
RoboCop.
Yeah, and I just thought, what are you doing with this design? I've always hated it. And even though his more modern designs are not lingerie inspired, I still just can't get past this. And I've never liked it.
Yeah, this is, I don't care for this.
No.
His head's also really loose.
Yeah, his head is rattling around a lot, which is weird. But none of these other figures really have loose heads, but his is kind of loose. But having said all of that, I like that the Superpowers line is by and large a nostalgic line for the 80s. And so when you think 80s DC, the Teen Titans was one of DC's top selling books. And if I'm just going to add a cyborg to my Superpowers collection specifically, I kind of would want this one. I wouldn't really want one of the more modern ones where he's got a big giant gun for an arm. Like, these guys, they reek of 80s comic books to me. Very kind of like Bronze Age. I don't know. I kind of love them for
What they
what
are.
they are. Like they look like they could have appeared in the vintage Superpowers line in the 80s. Like I think I could put these right up there with my 80s figures because I have a whole bunch of them. And if I told you pick out one of these figures that's made 40 years later than the other ones, the average Joe I don't think could really spot any difference. Now my last little I guess complaint about this guy is I believe they did make a Cyborg in the vintage series, or maybe he was one of the ones that was about to be produced and wasn't. But anyway, I wish he had back metal. Um, these figures don't have a whole lot of joints. Like he doesn't have any elbow articulation or anything. That's one of the arguments against back metal on modern figures. Is it's hard to add it when there's joints.
Yep.
This is the kind of figure I think you could have got away with putting, shiny chrome back metal, and it really would have made this figure a little more exciting. But it's kind of just a flat gray paint. So anyway, this next one, Animal Man. I don't know anything about Animal Man either.
He's kind of goofy. Did you ever get the multiverse version of him?
No, I had no interest
No.
in it. Because I've never read a comic book with this guy in it. Now, mind you, he might have showed up in some of the Crisis books that are like, because they have these event books where they cram every DC character into it. They show up at least in a panel or two. So yeah, I've probably read something with him showing up for a panel or two. And I know he's one of these characters that Alan Moore wrote for a stint. And people, rave about, oh, you should have read Alan Moore's Animal Man. But I never did. So I don't know anything about this character. I think his costume is lame. He seems lame. The fact that he has the powers of every animal seems overdone and lame. I don't know. I don't like him.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Animal Man either. To me, he looks just like a repainted Booster Gold, or
Yeah,
especially if you cover up his hair.
yeah. And it's just like his whole outfit is just his orange outfit, which is an ugly color,
with a blue A,
and then he's got this gigantic blue A on his chest. Like for a guy that could turn into like any animal, or I don't even know exactly. Does he turn into the animals, or he has the powers of the animals?
He has the powers. I
don't
really
know.
care about this.
So
guy.
like, let's say he can run as fast as a cheetah or be as strong as a bear. Like, dude, you have the entire animal kingdom to choose from to make a logo. You could have had a logo that had like a lion with eagle wings and a snake tail, something awesome. But no, you went with a big giant A on your shirt. It's really uninspired.
And a blue blazer.
And then this is another thing I don't like. The vintage Superpowers line had some soft good capes, but it was not a line known for their soft goods. In the last wave of Superpowers figures, which I reviewed in my last video, Lobo came out, and they gave him this weird little cloth vest. And I was like, why does he have this? It looks really out of place. It's like if you buy a G.I. Joe or a Transformer that's all of a sudden got a cloth vest. You're like, none of my other Transformers have cloth vests. It looks weird, and it looks just as weird on these guys. And now with Animal Man, yes, the character wears a jacket, but I don't know why they couldn't have just put a little piece of plastic over him the way they did with like Guy Gardner here. Like that would have looked so much better. But instead they give him this full jacket with sleeves. They do a miserable job at like the seams and the hems and stuff. Like it does not look like a real jacket. It just looks like something that I made at home. And it looks like shit.
Grade 7 family studies. Sewing project.
Yeah, we talked about the same thing in our recent video because we reviewed the Jonah Hex figure, and he had a long, like kind of trench coat on, and it also looked really bad. Like there was no seams that where you'd expect to see a jacket to have like a hem along the bottom or anything. It's just flimsy, loose material, and it looks terrible. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about Animal Man. You got any other thoughts?
No, that is not appealing at all.
No. So again, I'm happy to just add new characters to the universe. It does make my shelf more interesting. I'd rather this than another Batman or Superman, but there are so many cooler characters in the DC universe that we could have got over Animal Man. So, anyway. Now, the last figure in the series, this is my favorite one. I actually like this one. but he is kind of an obscure character still. So this is Deadman.
Yeah.
Um,
Not a whole lot of intel on Deadman.
now, he's a dead guy,
Mhm.
and I think he can possess the living.
Kind
of like in the movie Ghost, when the ghost goes into Whoopi Goldberg, and I guess it doesn't feel like a super interesting power, and doesn't sound like it would make for a really interesting comic book either. Because if you're a big Deadman fan, for him to do anything and interact in the real world, he has to go into somebody else's body, and then you're reading about somebody other character doing something. I don't know. I've never read a Deadman comic book. I've read stories that he's been in, like I think he's in like Justice League Dark here and there, but he's not a character I know a whole lot about. But visually, he's the most interesting of this whole set, and his stark red and white, it looks interesting.
It clashes. I like it.
Yeah, the fact that he's got kind of like two-tone red. He's almost got like an orangey red over top of like a crimson red.
Yeah.
And
for his gloves.
Yeah, but I like it. His design is simple. It's kind of exactly what I want in a superpowers figure. It's an obscure character,
basic,
in his classic costume, and he's not a doofus. So, yeah, I think he's pretty great, actually. But I don't have a whole lot more to say about him.
Yeah, I dig him. D for dig.
Yeah, there you go. It does seem a little like, looking at all these figures we've reviewed today, like, sure, Superman's got a big S on his chest, but that's so iconic we can let that slide. But then Animal Man's got a big A on his chest. Ultraman's got a U on his chest.
Mr. Terrific.
Mr. Terrific's got the word T terrific face. And a T on his face. Deadman, he's got a D on his...
Which almost looks like the Daredevil D.
It does. And again, he's just... like, I don't know what kind of outfit... I don't know if this guy was like a circus performer the same way like Nightwing was. That's why he's got this big collar and stuff. I think, memory serves, maybe Deadman's got some sort of history, but so the outfit is fine. It's just, but like, why would he wear a big D on it? Like, you're a ghost, having a big D on your chest, like, oh, I'm Deadman, or G for Ghost Man. It seems silly. Like, he's got this big deep V on his neck anyway for his white chest. I really don't think the D adds anything to
VD.
it. I think they could have just brought the V down a little bit farther, and that would have been fine. It would have broken up the red, and the D just seems kind of silly. Having a letter on your chest just feels lazy.
Overplayed.
Yeah, it's the DC characters. Most of them are older than the Marvel characters, and this was kind of a trope or a cliche back in the old days. Comic book characters had a letter on their chest, so you don't see it as much in Marvel. So I can't harp on it too much. It's part of the classic, like, kind of golden age design. I don't know when Deadman was first designed, when he first appeared or not. I don't know if he's that old of a character. But anyway, whatever. D or not, I think he's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, so that's it for my superpowers. So, hopefully we get more. I'd like to get another wave or two in. Hopefully he answers fans' pleas and does like a whole wave of just women, because the vintage line didn't have any, like, it had Wonder Woman as well, but it didn't have like any females. Like, no Batgirl, no Supergirl, no Hawkgirl. Like, there's some key characters. Mm-hmm. But it would also be fun to get Harley Quinn and Power Girl and Batwoman and Lois Lane and all those people. So seems unlikely, but fingers crossed. All right, so I guess that's it. Thank you for watching. If by some reason I post this after Superman, feel free to leave your comments about Superman the movie down below. Maybe we'll share ours, or maybe we'll do a review video. I don't know. But anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and we will see you next time. Ciao.
Keep collecting.